All right, good afternoon. I'm Cheryl O'Donnell, and I'm here interviewing Tracy from A River of Yarn. Uh, Tracy, do you want to tell us a bit about yourself and how you ended up with a yarn shop in Keene? And maybe just let people know where Keene is.
Sure. Thank you, Cheryl. Keene is about 15 minutes south of Peterborough, Ontario, and we're actually located on the Otonabee River, just north of Rice Lake. And I've been open here part-time since 2015. And as of June last year, I actually retired from my full-time day job. And so now my business is more full-time and probably pick up a little bit more in the summertime. The reason this came about is actually quite a long time story. Back about 30 years ago, I had been interested in buying a yarn shop that was in Peterborough and did all the investigation and got their books and everything and took all the information to an accountant, and he actually talked me out of it. And so instead of buying a yarn shop, I went back to school. And at that time, I went back and I got my teaching certificate at Queen's. And I have worked teaching secondary school family studies, so sewing and cooking and all those things we need to learn to survive. And I just retired after 30 years in June. So I put off that yarn shop for all that time. And now I'm finally realizing that dream just a little bit later than I thought I would.
Okay, it's well marinated. You have thought about it, so lots of benefits to jumping in eventually. And why Keene? Why that area?
Well, this is because this is where I live. We have a large home with a studio on the side of it. And so I have set up here. It's great location for the summertime in that we get a lot of tourists come around, maybe not so great in the wintertime. So I'm kind of opposite what you would think of a yarn shop. But it's pretty close to Peterborough and we like it here and people seem to enjoy it. In the summertime, we actually have get-togethers where we sit down by the water and we enjoy our time creating our projects.
Oh, that's nice. If I was driving up towards Peterborough, would it be obvious to me where like how to find you?
There's a couple ways. I do have a sign out on County Road 2. You're best to do the Google Maps thing. You can come via 28 through Port Hope, or you can come up the 115 and then just go south of Peterborough. So it's pretty easy to find, actually. We're just north of the Hiawatha Reserve as well.
Okay. Well, now on to a bit about your products. What do you have that's new for this summer?
Well, one of the things that I actually got that I am loving is a very affordable yarn, and it's called Cotton Supreme Waves. It's by Universal, and I'll just give you an idea here. I don't know how much
Okay.
you can
Yep.
see it.
Yep. Got it.
And it is a yarn that does the self-striping for you. And it comes in a variety of different colors. But one of the things I loved about it, it is so soft. And there's quite a couple patterns that are worked top down.
Oh,
So there's no sewing. And this is just a little summer tee. And it's wonderful to wear on your skin. So there's a tee pattern that's free, and there's also a little tank top pattern that's free as well. And it's just gorgeous. And I've washed this and it washes really well as well. You just have
so,
to make sure you lay it flat to dry.
so does the ball go through the different gradient or different colors and then they start again?
Yes, yes. And so you can see how it starts with the gray and then goes with the blue. Yeah. And then
Okay.
and quite a few various colors coming in. So looking, and the price point is really good on this. It's only $14 per ball. And in order to make this little tee, it only took for a size medium 4 balls.
That's good. Very good.
Yeah. So it's pretty affordable.
Looks very nice. I like that. Um, what other kinds of things do you have in your store?
Well, I tend to carry mid-range.
Hmm.
So I am not going to compete with Walmart or places like that. What I'm trying to do is service a market that's kind of in between. So I'm not selling a lot of $30 or $40 um, skein yarns. I'm selling mid-range, and I'm trying to get fibers that maybe not everybody carries as well. So I do love various cottons. I do have a lot of alpaca, and then I have some different things like camel, for example, or llama, um, things like that. So I'm trying to stay in that range, service a market that you don't find a lot of things out there for.
That's good. That's good. Now, when we were starting, you also mentioned that you don't just do yarn.
Yes. So my background, because of family studies, I've taught many, many teenagers to sew over the years. So that is something I love to do as well. So I can't get away from that. And one of the things before COVID, when I was doing shows, I love to talk to people, but I always have to keep my hands busy. So one of the ways I decided to do that was to make these bags, and they're fully lined and reversible. And what I love about them is I just put them over my arm like this. I put my project in the bag, and I can stand and I can walk around and I can knit and talk to people for 8 hours during my shows. And I found that a lot of people said to me, "Oh, I love your bag. Oh, I like that bag." And then after quite a few people said they liked it, I thought, well, I'm going to make some, and they become very popular. So what I do is I'm always on the lookout for different yarn themed patterns. So whether it's balls of yarn or something like this, where you've got your knitting needles and knitting and sheep, or sometimes it could be something like this, where you've got words. So, and I'm always coordinating linings inside. So when you come to some of the shows, you'll be able to see these. And I'm in the process of getting these online as well.
Okay. Those are great.
Thanks.
Um, just to your side there, it looks like a shawl or something on the mannequin.
Yeah, so this is another yarn that is going to be great for summer. This is a Noro yarn, actually. And when we think Noro, we often think wools, but this is actually a cotton and a polyamide, and super soft, almost as soft as the other one I just showed you. Comes in a variety of colors, and I sell them as a kit. And you'll see this shawl. It's gorgeous. It has been blocked, and it's a fair size. And they come in various colors. You get the pattern, you get the yarn, and everything you need to make the kit.
And it's the yarn itself. It's very typical Noro in that you've got, the long color repeats.
Yes, just think of their wool yarns, except that this is a cotton yarn, and absolutely gorgeous colors available in it as well.
Wow, that is lovely. Mm. Um, Now I see some hanks hanging up over your shoulder.
Yeah, I have different things. Some things I've made. One of the things before I retired that seemed to be popular a few years ago was arm knitting with teenagers. So
Oh, yeah.
I have I have samples of different things that students have made. So this is our yarn knitting example.
I thought those were hanks.
No, they're not.
Oh, that.
So it's one thing about working with teenagers is they always give you lots of ideas, and it's always a lot of fun. One thing that's becoming really popular right now with teenagers is crochet. And
Mhm.
so I'm having a lot of younger people come in and say, could you teach me how to crochet? And one of the things now that COVID is hopefully starting to wane, I'm going to start a lot more in-person lessons as well.
Okay.
So that should be fun.
I'm going to just pause this for a second. So you were mentioning about teenagers and inspiration in crochet.
Yeah,
So
so I actually have a 16-year-old daughter, and she keeps me up to date with what's in as far as teenagers go. And the school that she goes to actually has a crochet club. When before I retired, I ran a knitting club. And at lunches, we would get together and students would come and I'd supply them with the needles and the yarn and teach them, basic knitting. And it was a lot of fun. It was something different that normally you don't see in a high school.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the great thing about teenagers is they're up on the latest trends. And so if you want to know what's happening, then just ask one. I'm sure they'll tell you.
Let's see. What projects are you dreaming about getting into next?
Well, the problem is I have so many projects, I never know where to begin. I'm sure I'm like everybody else. What I tend to do is I make a lot of samples for my business. And right now I have been making a lot of shawls. Because with the shows coming up this summer, I'm going to be selling some kits. And so I want to have a sample made to show.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually just working on, and I'll show you. This is an Andrea Mowry sweater, and we're doing, a few of us are working once a week on this sweater, and this is the back of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure you've seen it before. So we have done this. I'm using mine in wool. I have another woman making one in cotton and another woman making it in an acrylic and wool blend. And all three, same pattern, are turning out completely different. So it's a great exercise in showing how you can use the same pattern but get totally different techniques based on the yarn you choose, the fiber you choose, and the tools you use, actually.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And can you tell us about the top you're wearing? I see it's feather and fan.
Yeah, this is actually your traditional Sirdar yarn. It's called Amalfi, Malfi, and it is a cotton blend. And it is wonderful. It comes in many, many colors as well. And it's got a little bit of a fleck in it too. So you can get that not flatness. You get a little bit of a jump with that yarn. It's gorgeous yarns. There's some beautiful cotton yarns on the market today, which is really nice. The thing with cotton is you often have to check your tension. It's not as forgivable as wool, but don't be afraid to use it. It's great to work with.
Ah. Um, if people were finding you, you're online.
Yes, so I have a website online. It's a riverofyarn.ca because we're Canadian, and it is up to date. I try to keep it up to date as much as possible. There's a few things that you can find in studio that aren't on there, but I would say 95% of the items I have are online.
Okay, good, good. And is there anything specific you're offering people for the Frolic weekend?
Yes, so for Frolic, I am going to offer you 20% off, 20% plus. I do not charge for taxes. So you're actually getting a bigger bonus, 33% off if you want to be exact. And if you are ordering online, which you will be, shipping is free if you spend $100. So that's a bonus to get your shipping free.
Well, I thank you in advance for that. It's lovely. Um, is there anything you'd like to ask us as the about the Frolic, or anything else you'd like to tell us?
Um, One of the things I think that knitters and crocheters and anyone doing any kind of work like this with textiles, don't be afraid to spend money on your tools. The tools are what makes or breaks your final project. So if you're trying to do something with a tool that's just not working, like you're maybe using a bamboo needle and it's sticking a lot, well, then you've got the wrong tool. So just don't be afraid to spend the money to get a good tool, because then you'll be happier with the process and really happy with the product when you're finished.
So you mentioned you had a lot of cotton yarn. Is there a needle material that's better for knitting with cotton?
I find I really like the Nova Platina. They're a metal and they're very slippery. But if you have problems with things slipping off, some cottons are slipperier than others. Then I would say that's where you get into using a wood, maybe a bamboo or birch or something like that.
Okay. Well, my last question. What would you like? What do people never ask you that you wish they would?
Because I'm online and you can ask me anything to do anything in person as far as, teaching you. But I would love for someone to say, I would love to take over your social media and do your website for you and, and not charge you for it would be even better. So, yes.
Those teenagers you were mentioning earlier on.
Yeah, I might have to hire some and put them to work.
Yeah. I don't know if your camera's mobile. Do you want to do just a pan around your shop for us?
Okay, I can do that. So I'll just quickly take you around. What I'll do is I'll start over here by the door so you can get an idea of what it's like when you come in. And I don't know if you'll be able to see. No, you can't. No. This is the door, and out behind me is the river.
Oh, yes. Can see a little bit of it. Yep.
Okay. So when you come in, the first thing you're going to see is my canoe. And of course, it's just a display, canoe shelf display. Then I have an awful lot of yarns in the cupboard that are sock yarns, and I sell sock yarn kits and things like that. Then I have a display area. This was actually a kitchen in the home when we bought it. We had 2 kitchens we don't need, so we turned the kitchen into a playroom first, and now it became a yarn shop. Then I also have a lot of skeins on display, and as we work through here, then we come to the many shelves that I built that have all the different yarns.
Okay, lovely.
And then my desk, and then down the hall, I'm kind of encroaching on my home. I have all the needles and accessories and things that you need to complete your project. And okay, that's my list.
Great. And what are your hours?
Right now, my hours are part-time. I'm open Thursdays and Fridays, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And then Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. But as the spring moves along, I'll be extending my hours a little bit.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much. And it's been wonderful chatting with you. And
thank you, Cheryl.
We'll see you online at the Frolic.
Okay, can't wait. Exciting. Thank you.